Hello everybody, welcome back. If you like music and movies, this is the channel for you, so get subscribing. Today we've got a review of 7 Days, which we saw at the London Film Festival. And cue Dina Burgess, our very special guest. Round of applause.
Yeah, 7 Days. Now, not to be confused with this French psychological thriller called 7 Days from 2010. This is not it. This is a new movie. It stars two of the stars of the more recent series of The Miracle Workers. Daniel Radcliffe was in the first series. The two stars of this film, Karan Soni and Geraldine Viswanathan, I think I've pronounced that right, they also star together in Miracle Workers. Now, it's written and directed by Roshan Sethi, and Karan Soni, who plays the lead male, Ravi, also co-wrote it. So you can tell, I think it's a project close to his heart. So I would describe this as a post-COVID rom-com, but also it's a kind of rom-com about the role arranged marriages in certain cultures could play in modern society. That makes it sound very heavy, but it's not. It's very good. It's very good. Basically, it's more or less a two-hander or two-header. That's rude. It's a two-header between Ravi and Rita. Basically, it starts at the beginning with lots of couples, real-life couples, talking about how they got together with their partners through arranged marriages. Now, we're talking mainly about Indian Hindu culture here. There's a plethora of websites where either people looking for love within the same culture or their families can put details of their relatives and say, oh, would you like to see my son? Would you like to date him? He's a doctor. He's this, little bit stereotype. But I know that these actually do exist because my best friend is Indian. And this really resonated with me because she was on all these websites. Her mother was setting up all kinds of meetings, and my best friend is very westernized, so she was basically Rita in this film. So I was wetting myself all the way through this film because I could identify so much with how Rita was.
Yeah, it sounds like something people can relate to because it's obviously the funny elements of life as well in that situation that people have been in.
Basically what happens is Ravi and Rita are set up on a kind of blind date by their families. Their families have been on, I think it's a website called arrange.com. They've partnered them up for this blind date, and seemingly she seems like a perfect Indian girl. He's a very well-behaved Indian boy, good job. And they get on quite well, and at the end of the date, they say their goodbyes, and then he can't get his train back, and he can't get a hire car because COVID lockdown sets in. This is set in America. So he has to stay the night on her sofa, where he makes a lot of discoveries that lead him to realise that she's not the vegetarian, virgin, non-drinking Indian girl that he thought she was. She actually loves the Jack Daniels. She's got chicken wings in the fridge, and he finds an item in the bathroom that shows that, she's a woman of the world, shall we say. Basically, then what happens is, because lockdowns happen, he can't get a hire car for a week. So what is basically a rather horrendous blind date turns into 7 days with the same person. Now, that could be an absolute disaster. Can you imagine going on a blind date with somebody you don't get on with, and then you're stuck with them in the house for 7 days? You can't go out, you can't do anything. But using COVID as a background actually gives them this device to explore the relationship between Ravi and Rita. And even though they seem worlds apart at the beginning, by the end, you can see where this is going because it's a rom-com.
7 days. That's nothing. Try 2 years.
I know. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, we can all identify.
7 days is a pushover.
When you've been with somebody for 20 minutes or 25 years, still being shut in the house with them for 7 days or longer. But anyway, so there is a twist in there, which I won't go into, which is a pivotal moment. It works on a lot of levels for me. I love this because I don't think that you have to be from a certain culture of arranged marriages to appreciate this, because it really shows that even though the marriage is technically arranged, it's the meetings that are arranged. They can say no. And a lot of arranged marriages are so-called arranged marriages are very successful, and it's lovely to see the real life couples at the beginning. It's a rom-com, but it's also very interesting, I think, to explore, how our preconceptions of somebody can change very quickly when you're in an intense situation. And they are great. The two leads are absolutely great because it's them the whole time, but they keep you entertained. There's some really funny moments, especially, I have to say that Geraldine is absolutely brilliant at going from the nice little Indian girl in the flowery dress to the sex crazed chicken wing eating alcoholic who can't be bothered to clean her flat and basically would be the worst wife ever for a nice little Indian boy. At the end of the film, you're kind of like, well, I think this is maybe what Ravi needs.
I love how the pandemic has made filmmakers so much more creative in a really different way as well, because this gives them a really interesting base, doesn't it, for a story?
It's definitely a device. There would be other devices that would possibly create a similar situation, but I can't see one that would be as effective, especially, like I say, because there is a pivotal moment in the film that couldn't be created by anything else other than what we've all been through the last 2 years. So, but it's making a comedy out of it. It's a really refreshing light comedy, and the chemistry between the two leads is fantastic. The dynamic changes from you kind of having sympathy with the one a bit more, and then it goes to the other one, and then you learn about each character as they learn about each other, which is interesting. And we've got a few little cameos which are all via Zoom of various Indian relatives, usually mothers and fathers, trying to talk to their children, and even having to get permission for him to stay over on the sofa for one night because he can't get away. It's a lovely little rom-com, and it doesn't matter what culture you're from. You can appreciate the sentiment, and you can appreciate the dynamic, and you can appreciate the chemistry between the two leads. Is definitely, I really, really enjoyed this one.
And I love how you use the word plethora. Plethora.
Plethora.
Why am I calling it plethora? It's like, do you remember we used to host the breakfast show on a radio station in Winchester called Win FM?
Don't start with that one. Yeah?
Do you remember Phasalis? That's
Yes,
not how I
can't say it. I can't say it properly, and everybody thinks that I do it for effect, and I can't. It is Phasalis, but I always used to call it syphilis, and it wasn't for effect. I just.
So 7 days, star rating, Dina Burgess?
4.5. 5
Wow.
if I'm pushed.
You're going for the halves again. You did that last time.
I'll do 5 because, it's a rom-com, but it's not a fluffy rom-com. I'm not a rom-com lover, let me say.
I'm not usually, I must admit.
Flicks.
Yeah.
I'm not a chick flick rom-com lover, but this I loved. I don't know whether I loved it so much because it reminded me of my best friend, and the scenarios that happen in the film I know have happened because I lived with my best friend while she was going through all this, so I was really, really laughing my head off. But I think anybody can identify. So
check it out. 7 days. It gets the big thumbs up from Dina and Boys on Film.
One of the best rom-coms I've seen. Yeah.
Wow. Put that on the billboard. Thank you everybody for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Dina.